Okay. Okay. G'day, G'day, collaborators, and welcome back to Animophobia. Now, unfortunately, this is no longer a direct, continuous, sequential series anymore, because I had to... this is not the first time I've played the hotel level. This is the first time in the series I've played Animophobia, but it's just I needed to do the hotel level again for a couple of reasons. The main reason is I didn't enjoy it. This is not an enjoyable level, unfortunately, and for one very big glaring issue. You see, okay, so on these rules here... right, yeah, that's right now. On these rules here, the first one says no walking through the halls between 11 PM and 6 AM. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean anything. There's no... That doesn't hold any merit at all whatsoever in the hotel, which is annoying, because why is it a rule there if it doesn't mean anything? There's no clock, and I can assume it's probably dark at the moment because the lights are on. The second rule, no running through the halls. As you see, I just sprinted between those two doors and nothing happened. So that rule also doesn't apply, which is annoying, because up until this point, it's been established that you must follow the rules. And these two rules here, they don't need to be followed. So, yeah. And then the next problem I have with this level is the concept of the them at the moment. And the one that I really don't like is the breathing one. The way to avoid him is to stop moving, is to stop your forward progress. And when it gets to the later levels, he breathes all the fucking time. And you're just making 2 steps and then stopping, waiting for him to stop, and then making another 2 steps and then stopping and waiting for him to stop. So it becomes really grating later on, and I got really intensely frustrated at the beginning. Well, there you go. Alright, so I need to go... So I need to hit all the doors in sequential order. And then I need to get... That's 9. Whoops. I keep forgetting the layout of that one. 2, 3, 4... And then 5 is this one. Yep. So that breathing, stop forward progress. Stop breathing, keep going. So never have a villain that prevents your forward progress. Because it's not tense, it's frustrating. And frustration is not the feeling you want. You want your players to feel in this sort of scenario. You don't want them to be frustrated. You want them to be, scared. You want them to be tensed. And having a situation where your players must stop their forward progress in order to not lose their progress is intensely frustrating. Okay, because there's 3 things we need to worry about: the breathing, this noise here. Oh fucking! And you also need to lock the mouse to the screen. Okay, sorry, I get frustrated about that too, because my screen just disappeared because my mouse hovered over one of the things in my start menu and it disappeared the screen, and I'm like, you're joking. Sorry. So the where am I up to? Oh, I'm up to 14, I think, so hit 15. Okay, good. And of course, the more doors that I interact with, the lower the tolerances of these thems go. Which means you could get to a point where the character will start breathing, and then you've gone too long, and then you'll have to start again. Which is so ridiculous. And for the rest of the levels to make the characters of he, she, and them to be physical characters, the fact that the them has never been a physical character, which is something I'm going to touch on later, but the fact that the them in this level are not physical characters is a bit of a letdown, personally. Alright, okay, so I don't need to go any further this way. Okay, let's get on to finishing the level first. Oh, okay. Am I up to 21? I don't think I am. No, I'm up to 20. I mean, the visual effects currently are pretty awesome here. The fact that it's getting all staticky and red, and the more doors I interact with, the more red the environment becomes. Like, that's pretty awesome. I like that. But I hate the rules. Hang on a sec. Just gotta make the mouse back to the game here. Okay. So you see, it's really frustrating. It's not tense, it's frustrating. Because stopping your forward momentum is something you always have to avoid when it comes to trying to make a game. Because, am I up to 23? Yes, okay. Because I didn't want to have to go all the way back down that fucking hallway. Okay, so 25 must be this way somewhat. Stopping your player's forward momentum is something you always have to avoid, because that's not how games are supposed to be played. Your player must always be able to, in some way, continue their forward momentum. It's really frustrating when you can't do that to this bloody rule set in this game. It's ridiculous. And the other thing that I don't like about this game, because my brother's just over here on the right, and he's probably like looking at me intensely. The thing that I don't like about this game is that I can't pause it. So, because pausing doesn't do shit in this game, which is dumb. Alright. 7, 8. Waiting for the breathing. Waiting. Ah, so that's why I don't like this level. There at the very end, the breathing was down, and I decided to move, and then boom, level over. And now I have to start again. So you see, I don't like this level at all, and it's the worst level to have this at the end of the game. In fact, this is just the worst level, period. You should have ended at the second maze level, and I would have been fine with that, but no, you decided to do this, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, now let's try and complete the game. Is he gonna let me do it? Finally. So now this is the epilogue of the game.
Respawn every time I die? Why is there always instructions on how to survive? And why is everything so detailed?
Look at all this detail.
Those are the questions you're asking yourself, right?
No, the question that I'm asking is, why is this final level so terrible? The rest of the game was so good, but this final level is just terrible, which is a really big, unfortunate circumstance. But it's also the demo, so I can't exactly expect that this is also in the full game, but that's going to have to be something that's up to contention later on. This is such a bad level, and I'm going to get into the reasons why that is. Allow me to finish the game first, though. You did good, Pixel Pelican. You did good. You did really good. Okay, so here's... Alright. So I did not like that last level, and as you can plainly tell with my frustration and annoyance. Frustration and annoyance is not something that you want your players to experience in any game at all. Frustration and annoyance is something that you should avoid, because frustration makes the player not want to play the game, which is unfortunate, because this game is really awesome. All the rest of the previous levels adds to the entire, adds to tension and to fear because of, like the claustrophobic sort of aspect of not being able to do certain things, like, for example, in the maze where you're running from her, or she, can't run because otherwise she'll hear you, and things like that. Like, that's tense. And not only that, but she had limits. You could run really far away from her, and you could walk really somewhat close to her, but you can't. You have to try and determine what that distance is, and it enables you to experiment a little bit with how to actually get past her really easily, which is great. I love that level because it made me use my intelligence and planning to try and get past her, which was great because I managed to do that, and it was fantastic. And the other great levels were all the rest of them were fantastic. The camp was my second favorite level because of the fact that you were in the one room and you had to keep looking out for the three things that you need to keep paying attention to: the windows and the radio and the sounds outside the door. And once those sorts of happens, you have to either quickly do something or something else like that. And it's really fantastic when that level exists, because it's really great. And then, of course, the schoolyard is my favorite one. Absolutely. I never thought I'd say that in my life, the school being my favorite, but there you go. But the school grounds was, in fact, really well implemented because of the fact that it was an intense and acutely devolving level. And I loved how the level builds its tension by your progress being measured by how distorted and destroyed the environment is, and how many things you have to look out for. However, the classroom does plant a seed of doubt, which is how they interacted, which is how the them presence was utilized. And the them in that level could have been a whole lot better if they were actually physical, because she and he in that level were both very physical beings. You had to look at he and you couldn't look at she, so but you could see her out of the corner of your eye. That's sort of something fantastic. And she being actual physical things on the walls was really great, and he being an actual physical model that you had to look at was really great. But the only aspect of the them in existence is the fact that your screen was turning green, and that's all you had. Imagine, however, if the them were actually little critters that were on the wall, on the roofs, right? Little critters that were on the roof, and you had to keep looking at them at some specific point to determine how many of them were looking at you. And the more thems that are looking at you, the greener your screen will turn. And if all of the thems are looking at you, then, the aspect would be that they'd fall to the ground and then they'd scurry about your feet, and then the he will come rushing at you, like how when she sees you, brilliant. That'd be really brilliant, but that's not the case. Just the screen turning green is not something that is actual physical to the player, and it doesn't really. It's an abstract sort of fear, and it doesn't really play with how the player should be able to feel. Now that was a bit of a down mark on an otherwise great level. However, the down marks on an otherwise terrible level, which is the hotel level, and the them portrayed in the hotel level, is something that I have to talk about quite a bit. Well, somewhat a bit. The main reason behind that is the fact that the them in that level, one of them prevents you from moving, which is bad. Don't do that to your characters in your games and your players in your games, because of the fact that the prohibiting of progress or movement does not build tension, it builds frustration. It's actually the worst aspect in any stealth game, where you have to watch how the guards move and then how long they take before they turn around and move out. Learning that sort of thing is all right, but not when you're specifically there waiting for something to happen. Waiting is something that you don't want to employ in a game, because it's just an artificial inflation technique, and it only builds frustration in your player, which is annoying, but there you go. Well, sorry, I shouldn't exactly say player. It's a player type. I'm a specific player type. I'm a specific player archetype. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what that is right now, because I don't know precisely. But waiting builds frustration in that kind of player archetype, and that's what it is. What I think would have been a lot better for the hotel is if you brought back he, she, and her. He, she, and them. He, she, and them, perfectly fine. What he should have been, the first one, the breathing, get rid of the breathing, and instead you should have he turn the corner of the hotel, and if you're facing in his direction, that's when he catches you. So you have to quickly turn and face the other direction. You can keep moving in that direction, but you just have to face his direction he's going, and then he'll just move past you. The only thing that you have to make sure you employ is that when he he doesn't just appear around the corner, because that'd be pretty cheap. So halfway down or lower, you'd make him be able to appear around that corner, but not. You have to face that way, and then he just despawns when he goes around the next corner. That would have been great. The next one you could have done to have the sort of like physical presence to the noise, instead of just having a noise there and then when you fail that rule, then the screen just appears. What you could have done was have the doors slowly open. You could have the doors slowly open, and then the blue eyes could, appear outside of that, and that's the doors slowly open, and then when you start running, that's when they close again. And then you have a physical thing to look towards to know that you're doing well in that rule. And that could be the second one. The third one, the lights, when they go out, and when you have your torches on, again, much like them in the classroom level that I proposed, you could have the lights slowly look at you. Each tick is a light looking at you, and then you have to turn off your flashlight, and then they'll cut back down to being normal. You can do that. I mean, it's possible. You could just have the stem as one model, and then the light as another one, and just have them look around it like that. You don't even need to animate it. You just need to make it so it look towards. I'm pretty sure this was done in Unity based off of the opening screen, and you can just use the look at command. So yeah, this is a really awesome game, and if the full one isn't out by now, I'm gonna wait for the full one. But if it is out by now, I'm gonna wait until I have enough money, and then I'm gonna buy it, because it's really a fantastic game. But the hotel level just entirely sours the experience for me, which is a bit of a shame. But it is how it is, and it's unfortunate how it is that it is this way. But that's just it. So there you go. Anyway, yep. That's going to be it for me for today. Pixel Pelican, you did good. This is a good game. I rate it highly. It's just that last level that you need to not, look at again for the demo, at least. But yeah, so that's it for me. But I appreciate you watching, if you did watch to this point, and this 3-week bloody process. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me. So thank you so very much for watching. This is Quillo signing off. Goodbye. And good luck. Alright.